I am back to share some super hot tea with you about our girl Charli D'Amelio. Aren't you just a wee bit curious about how a 16-year-old girl like Charli spends the millions she's getting from being TikTok and YouTube famous? Cause I mean, same. I wouldn't even know what to do with that kind of money at 16 years old. So make sure you stick around because today we are going to take a look at how Charli D'Amelio spends her millions. But first, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We are giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's all your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. First of all, did you girls know that Charli rakes in $30,000 for a single TikTok post nowadays? That means Forbes was kind of right on the money when they estimated Charli's net worth to be at $4 million. And you can officially color me jealous. I mean, can you imagine having that much money when you don't even have to pay a mortgage? That's right, dolls, since Charli's still in high school, she still lives with her parents and our girl Dixie. But this only begs the question, what does Charli spend all her money on if she's not draining most of it on rent or mortgage? Well, here's what I found. First, Charli spends thousands of dollars on charitable causes. I really appreciate this, dolls, you know, because some influencers who are older than Charli like to spend their fortune on the finer things in life, like several sports cars, private planes, or Beverly Hills mansions. It's just like a breath of fresh air to know that someone as young as Charli is already using her money to help causes that are bigger than herself. And that's on point. So do you dolls remember the very first controversy our girl Charli found herself in? It had something to do with her meet and greet and how she charged those poor teenagers $100 to see her for a few minutes and maybe take 1 or 2 selfies with her. Your girl was dragged for these super expensive tickets, and back then I was all like, who does this girl think she is? Cause you know, I've attended concerts of much more popular artists for the same price, but now I rest easy knowing that at least the money went to good causes, right? So Charli raised $7,000 from her meet and greet, and some of it was used to pay the security team that manned the event, but everything else was donated to charity. I mean, that's good and all, but I still think Charli should have said that the event was a fundraiser before she started selling those tickets. Because the way things went down, you'd think she simply decided to give away the money when she was already being criticized for overpricing her meet and greet. Sounds kinda sus, doesn't it? Anyway, there's one other thing that your girl Charli used to spend some of her millions on, and that's on contributions to the Hype House. So, in case you dolls already forgot, there was a time when both D'Amelio sisters were members of the Hype House, the huge TikTok collective who lives together in a grand mansion in California where they shoot content and basically spend all their time together. There is one major rule in the Hype House, which is that no one's allowed to freeload. So even though some of the members never stayed full-time in the mansion, they still had to pay their share of the rent. For Charli and her sister Dixie, they had to pay $900 for a room in the mansion, even though they still come home to their family house in Connecticut every single day. But this was all in the past since our fave D'Amelio girls are no longer associated with the Hype House. I am sure you dolls still remember Charli's messy breakup with her ex and Hype House founder Chase Hudson, which made it basically impossible for Charli to stay in their collective. But hey, at least Charli's no longer paying rent in a mansion she's not even allowed to live in. Good riddance though, right? So now, Charli's income mostly goes to contributing to her own household in Connecticut, where she lives with Dixie and their parents Heidi and Mark. I'm sure you dolls are familiar with the house because the entire D'Amelio family have filmed TikToks in different parts of their home. Although I still have no idea if Mark and Heidi actually require the girls to hand over some of their earnings to contribute to the family's expenses, I would imagine that's the case because, duh, if you're earning $30,000 every time you post on TikTok, wouldn't it be second nature for you to help provide for the family? But then again, I'm gonna remind you dolls that Charli is just 16 years old. I really do think she deserves to splurge on herself every now and then, you know? It's not like her TikTok fame is going anywhere. In fact, our girl stans have migrated to YouTube because Charli is finally working on her YouTube channel. So that's like a few $1 million more going into her bank account if she's able to keep her momentum and upload more and more regular content, just like James Charles has been telling her to do this whole freaking time. Anyway, it's not like Charli has never splurged on a big payday spend in the past. I'm just saying, our girl needs to enjoy herself a little more. The same way she did when she went on a quick vacation in the Bahamas with the rest of the Hype House. It was a quick vacation, mind you dolls, but I wouldn't be surprised if Charli and the rest of the gang spent a couple $1,000s for such a gram-worthy vacation. For Charli and your girl Addison Rae though, this trip was memorable in more ways than one. Sure, they absolutely enjoyed the beauty of the Bahamas and how it gave them the perfect backdrop for TikTok videos and dance challenges, but the backlash they received was unbelievable. I remember how actual adults came at them for dancing in their bikinis and swimsuits. I swear to you dolls, I almost lost my cool to tell those adults off. I mean, what are Charli and Addison supposed to do? Splurge on ball gowns they can wear to the beach? Like, that makes sense, right dolls? Of course they're at the beach so they can wear swimsuits and film TikToks in it if that's what they want. Jeez Louise, this must be why Charli actually hates going on vacations. Cause it's like, people are just always waiting for her to do something that they can object to. I imagine that can be tiring, right dolls? You know what else can be tiring? Traveling from Charli's house in Connecticut all the way to Los Angeles and back again every time she has a gig or engagement in the City of Angels. It's not just tiring, it's hella expensive too. So if you're wondering how Charli D'Amelio spends most of her millions, know that she probably burns it all on plane tickets. That's literally the dream, right? Well, not when you realize the reason she has to travel so much. So obviously, none of the D'Amelios knew what to do when Charli suddenly became world famous. If you check your girl Charli's Twitter bio, it says there, "Don't worry, I don't get the hype either." Which means even she was surprised about her sudden rise to fame at just 15 years old. So when those offers started rolling in, her parents had to lay down some ground rules so they could protect young Charli's future. So naturally, they still wanted Charli and Dixie to stay in school even if they're celebrities now, which by the way is a smart move. But another one of their family rules is that the girls have to be in their own beds by the end of every night, except when they're out for the night with the rest of the family. So even if Charli's in LA all day shooting collabs with other influencers, she has to take the last flight back home. Can you imagine living like this, dolls? And while we're on the topic of things that are kinda hard to believe, you would be surprised just how much of Charli's money goes into buying Dunkin' Donuts. It's Charli's most favorite deli in the world, and she just can't go an entire week without getting herself a donut and an iced DD coffee. But now that she's a celebrity, you can bet that she doesn't even have to spend that much on donuts and coffee because of sponsorships. That's how celebrities live, you know? So Dunkin' Donuts has not yet officially gotten Charli D'Amelio as their endorser, which is like, what are you waiting for, guys? But at least we know that they're listening whenever Charli tweets or posts about her love for Dunkin'. One time, Charli tweeted that her whole life would be complete if she only had a cold brew tap in her room. I mean, your girl's fancy, but at least she can take her coffee well. Dunkin' didn't waste one breath and immediately sent Charli a cold brew tap, and dozens of other paraphernalia and remembrances from her most favorite store in the world. She's literally living like a queen. Charli said so herself that she's like 90% coffee, so a cold brew tap in her room is literally the best gift she could have received from DD. Now, if they could send an endorsement contract right along, that would be dope too. Finally, the best thing Charli D'Amelio spends her millions on is a trust fund for her future. I wish all 16-year-olds had an opportunity to secure their futures like this. Imagine, Charli can actually go to any college in the world with the kind of money she's raking in right now. This girl will never have to line up for student loans or break her back waitressing on school nights just so she can scrape enough money for tuition. If she wants to go to the most expensive college in the world, she can send herself there, all thanks to her unprecedented TikTok fame. All I can say is, you go sister, you deserve it all. Anyway, that wraps up the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.